Welcome friends. Hi, hello. How is your day today? I hope it's great. For all you new cookies here, my name is Donna. So happy you found me today. I am your partner in crime, the one who's going to break the rules with you, the one who's going to wear colorful, beautiful, sparkly things on my eyes, even though they tell me I'm too old for it. And if they're telling you the same thing, you have found the right place. I am your person. Thank you so much for being here today. Today we are doing another palette roulette in which I review a palette that I let an app choose for me. I utilize it throughout the week. I come back to you, I talk to you about my experiences with the palette, I show you some swatches, some beautiful pictures of the eye looks that I created, and then we pull a new palette. So if that sounds something like you're interested in, I do them every single Monday. I hope that you'll consider sticking around. Today's palette is this one here. This is the Beaute, I believe. Maybe it's Beauty. There is a flat line over the E, so I do believe it's Beauty. Okay, we're going to start over there. Today we have the Beauty Paradise Fallen palette. This palette is a beautiful purple palette. It has a wonderful cardboard packaging with blue and purple and pinky tones on it. It is such a pretty package. The front of the palette does look like this, and the back just looks like this. Nothing frilly, nothing fantastic. It's not like tactile or anything. I think that these two sections right here are a little bit raised on the palette, but nothing spectacular, right? It does have a pretty motif on the front though. This palette does come in at just about 5 stars on their own website. I just don't know how accurate that is though, because 90% of the people that reviewed it gave it 5 stars, but there is a 10% leeway in there, so I'm not really sure. There wasn't anything saying that there was 5 stars. It just had 5 filled stars on the website. There's 135 reviews on that. On Google, it ranks in at 4.6 stars with just over 2,000, well, 2,200 reviews on it. I think that's probably fair. And on Beauty Bay, it does have 4.6 stars as well, but there's only 8 reviews there. So I think I would probably rank it in that 4.6 star rating. I did have an enormous amount of fun with this palette. I think I got an eye look for every single day of the week, I think. And I think I got pictures of every single one of them. Today I wanted to do a more neutral eye look for you so that you could see that this palette also really speaks volumes to some neutral eye looks that you can pull from it. But I got some really great colorful eye looks from it. Again, it is the Beauty Paradise Fallen palette. It is one of 4 in the Paradise series. I do have 3 of the 4 palettes in that series, so you will get to see some of the other ones in this collection as well. This isn't a limited edition palette, so it will be sticking around. It is $34.99 for 0.68 ounces of product, which translates to 0.056 ounces of product per pound, which means they're about the same size as a ColourPop eyeshadow single, which is phenomenal. It's great, especially for 12 pounds of eyeshadow in a palette. So again, it does have 12 shades inside of it and a very nice mirror. You can bend the palette all the way back. It is a little stiff though. It's one of those palettes that you kind of have to break the binding to get it pushed all the way backwards. God, look at how beautiful this palette is. Look at how pretty. It's so pretty. Purple. Purple is one of my favorite colors ever. Green's my favorite color, but man, I remember as a kid just living for purple. Purple is also one of my favorite colors to put on my eyes. So I love this shadow palette. It does have 12 shades in it, as you can see. It does have 4 shimmers or metallics, which are these 2 here and these 2 here, and the rest are mattes, which I appreciate. I do like a 50-50 split or less, dependent on what the metallics in the palette are, because you could have palettes that have like an 80-20 split, and it's perfectly fine because that 20% mattes really does work with all the shimmers in the palette. This one, I don't know if they put more shimmers in, if it would work, just because it's so heavily purple. The mattes are super, super pigmented, super buttery to the touch. They're not firm in the pan. So with that said, if you go in and dig your brush in or swirl it even, you're going to see a lot of kick up in the pan. Because they're not firm pressed, they do also cause fallout on your eyes, but they are kind of, I feel like, a little bit of a drier formula, so they do just sweep right off. My suggestion always is do your eyes first. I always do my eyes first. There was a point in time where I didn't ever do my eyes first. Now it's just pretty much my standard. If you can wrap your head around doing your eyeballs first, this is going to be a great palette for you, regardless of fallout. Fallout has never been a make or break for me. I honestly feel like I don't like palettes that don't fall out because their pigmentation just isn't where it needs to be, in my opinion, of course. There is a ton of kick up in the pan though because of them not being as firmly pressed in the pan. The metallics in here, so these two shades here and these two shades here, are really super pretty, super beautiful, go on the lid, creamy in nature, except for this one here. I think this quite possibly is the worst silver I have ever had in my collection. It's not necessarily silver, but it's also not white, and it's not opaque, but it's not sheer. I don't know what to make of it, honestly. It just is, I mean, it looks like it's going to be beautiful, but it doesn't perform very good on your eye look. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but it is like so chunky. You just have fallout central all over your face, and it doesn't stop all day long. It's going, going, going. It does exacerbate the texture on your eyelids. It just creates a hot damn mess all over the place. I think that I hated this shade. I used the silver all over my lid like I have on this one with some purples on the end, and then I also used it in the center of an eye look. As a matter of fact, I have a video with that eye look specifically, and I hated editing that video. I was like, oh, I should trash this video. That is a horrible eye look. And it was that silver that broke that eye look down for me. It's just not, it's not opaque, but it's also not sheer, and it's not as creamy as it appears in my screen right now. The rest of the shimmers in the palette though, they do perform so well. I didn't find any problems with fallout with them. After the fact, I didn't find that I struggled a lot with them. What I would say though is that they do definitely go on better with your finger. I think it just helps them melt into the skin a little easier. I did put most of them on with a brush initially, and then just kind of
set my I just pulled my eyelash off. What the hell? Okay. I just pulled some eyelash glue off. That is the weirdest thing.
So I just would set my finger over the top of them and then just kind of pat my finger across the way so that it just kind of melted into my skin just a little bit more. I do find that they go on better with your finger. They just kind of melt into your eye a little better. And they do also go on really well with a wet brush, but I wouldn't necessarily use them with a dry brush. They are just a little bit dry. I would say also that these are best over a primer, but best over a set primer, so, or a drier formula of a primer. So this is a formula of eyeshadows that I actually found best over the top of my primer potion, which isn't my favorite because it does mattify, it does matte down, versus like my eyeshadow primer crayons or my paint pots. It doesn't, I feel like it sticks on the wetness of the creamy primers. So definitely use a drier formula of primer or set your eyeshadow primer. And the longevity of these shadows was a good 10 hours. Like I had a really good time with this palette. I didn't find that it did anything bad. Like I don't have a whole lot to say about it. If I had more to tell you like about the formulation in and of itself. I think this is the first Ace Beauty palette that I have used. I do have, I think, 4 more in my collection, and it makes me want to dig into them some more because I just enjoyed my time with this palette so very much. I mean, that went super quickly. I am trying to be a little more quick about my videos because I know that you guys don't want to be here for 30 minutes, to be honest. So I am going to do the live swatches now, and then we will pick another palette. All right, first 4 in the palette, we do have this one, which is called Pure. It is a cool tone gray matte shade. This is a really pretty shade. I do wish that it had been leaned a little more lavender, though. It would have made it a great transition shade. I don't always use a transition shade, but I do know a lot of people do need transition shades, and unless you want all of your transition to be gray in tone, there's not really another transition shade in here. I don't also often just pull from one palette when I'm doing an eye look for fun. So I do it for my palette Roulettes, but I don't do it for an eye look for fun. So I have shadows that I can use to utilize as a transition shade for this palette other than this gray, but I do wish that for those that do like just to pull from one palette in a single eye look, that this had been maybe a little more lavender. Then we have the one that I just don't like. It's also like, it pulls really weird too. That one is called Moon Glow. It is a silver metallic. Then we have this one here, which is a dark gray matte. And then we have this one here, which is all over my lid today. And this one is called Orion. It is kind of a cooler tone mauve metallic. I would say like champagne-y, but it's definitely not champagne-y. You guys can see that. It's got a little bit of a pinkiness to it versus a white. Then we have this one here, which is called Vine. It is a brown metallic, brown matte that is in my crease and above towards my brow bone in my eye look today. And then this one is also in my eye look today, and it is called Cypress Tree. And it is kind of a burgundy red brown. It is listed on the website as a chocolate brown. I feel like it pulls, honestly, more burgundy than it does brown, and I think that you can probably see that. I do think that this row is so pretty, and I love the grays in this palette. Like, I don't typically dabble in grays, and I typically do have problems with grays, but I did a really pretty gray eye look that I was just like feeling myself apparently with this gray eye look. I really kind of dug it. All right, second row. These look very similar, but I assure you they don't look super similar in an eye look, so that's their saving grace. So this one here is called Shadow, and it is actually on the website described as a deep navy, and it does look very navy in the swatch, but I will tell you on an eye look with all these other purples, it definitely pulls purple. Then we have this one here. This is called Twilight, and this is a purple metallic, and it is so pretty. I think I have like 2 eye looks with this purple on because I just fell in love with this purple. It's quite possibly one of my favorite purple metallics in my collection. Then we have this one here, which is a blue violet shade, and it is called Eve. It is a matte. And then to go along with that, we have a blue violet shimmer, and that one is called Night Sky. And I think it's really fitting. That is such a beautiful, I mean, look at all those purples there. It's such a beautiful row of shades. Then we have this one, which is called Dusk. And it is an orchid purple. Very pretty shade. It does kind of translate to pink on an eye look. And then we have this, which is the black in the palette, which is called Blackout. I have seen better blacks in my collection but I'm not mad at this one. It is still very pigmented. It goes into an eye look and just helps to deepen up anything, and it is in my eye look today, right on that outer V section. So I just think that this is such a beautiful palette. If you are in the market for purples in your collection, I really don't think that you would be sorry to pick this up. I know that Ace Beauty is not really a hugely known brand, and a lot of people get a little bit like, I don't know, weird about picking up brands that they don't know, and myself included. Like I want Clionadh Cosmetics single shadows so dang bad I can taste it, but I hesitate to pick them up because they're one of those brands that I can't find in a store, and I can't whatever. A lot of the Ace Beauty palettes that I have in my collection I did receive through subscription boxes. I think 2 of them I received in subscription boxes, and then the other ones that I do have I picked up through sales through subscription boxes. So there's that. I've never actually purchased from the brand themselves, but I'm not mad at this palette. I actually quite love this palette. It actually kind of makes me want to dig into the other ones before I do anything else. But I'm gonna let us roll our course, roll for a new palette, and I couldn't be happier to have this palette in my collection. I am wondering if you guys have it in your collection and what your thoughts are on it. I do love that you can get a good daytime look out of this palette, whether it be with the grays or the browns in the palette. Even the purples you could probably get a good daytime look out of, just matching it, pairing it with like the gray, the light gray or the light brown that's in this palette as well, just to kind of give it more of a cohesive daytime look versus a glam, you know, purple eye look. So there's that. I think that you could do a lot with this palette. I really love too the fact that it is a purple palette, but all of these shades on this row here are not purple, but also really complement these. When you look at this purple palette, you see a purple palette, not like Norvina where you look at this purple palette and you don't see a purple palette. You see a couple purples in a neutral palette. With that said, I will keep this palette. I do love this palette. I do not intend on getting rid of that. I actually had quite a bit of fun with this palette over the last week, and I cannot wait to use another one of their palettes. I am going to pull up the app. For those of you new here, I do use an app. It looks like this. It is called the Decide Now app, and it's just basically a Wheel of Fortune or a decision wheel app that I pulled from my app store. This is what the decision wheel looks like. It's got all of my palettes in it. We have done, this is like 122 different palettes through this app, and this is how many we have left. We've not repeated once, which I'm so happy about. To spin it, you just press the blue button there. So that is what we are going to do. I just realized I left some palettes in here that are palettes that we've already done. And that one that pulled up is a palette that we've already done. Let me go in here and take those out real quick. All right, let's try this again. We're gonna spin the wheel. We got the Huda Emerald Obsessions palette, so I'm going to go pull that. I will be right back. Alright folks, this is the Huda Emerald Obsessions palette. I actually did a get ready with me with one of my friends utilizing this palette, so I actually can't wait to use this green. My favorite color. So this will be the palette that I come back to you next week and talk about. I hope that you guys will be here. Thank you guys so much for coming today. I do hope that you enjoyed this, and if you're looking for another video, YouTube should be suggesting you one here in a couple seconds. I do hope that you liked it enough that you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. I also hope that you liked it enough, or me enough, that you're considering subscribing before you go. I would love to have you along for my crazy midlife crisis here, but also to welcome you into my awesome YouTube family. Just don't forget to hit the notification bell if you do. I would want to make sure that I'm showing up in your feed. So yeah, guys, with that being said, that's all I have for you. So please stay safe out there, cookies. Please keep yourself healthy and your loved ones healthy. Please love each other, but love each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.